What's going on, guys? Sirian here, and I'm finally bringing you a CoD World War II post-commentary. At the time of making this video, I've now put a good 80 plus hours or so into actually playing the game, so I figure now's a good time to give you guys my thoughts on it. I also thought it's a good opportunity to talk about the state of the game on PC in general. Now, I've got a couple of games here for you guys today. The first is a TDM on Gibraltar, and as you can see, I'm playing here on a 1-bar connection with a friend of mine from the US. There were actually at least a couple of really good players on the enemy team, but things turned out okay in the end. As for why I was playing on a 1-bar, we'll get to why later, but for those of you who are unaware, playing on a 1-bar is a pretty miserable experience. Generally, it means ping is close to or over 300, which is just atrocious for an online shooter like CoD, so that's why some of the gameplay in this video will look a bit weird. Moving on, the second game I have is actually a game of domination on Ardennes Forest, which has quickly become my favourite in the whole game. I was a little bit grumpy and hysterical at the time, but it was a good game regardless. Anyway, I hope you enjoy watching both games. Let's get started. So, I think I've played the game more than long enough now to say that any potential honeymoon period is over, and as usual, I seem to have found myself with an unpopular opinion. I actually enjoy World War II a lot, while most of the rhetoric I've been hearing is that the game is the second coming of Hitler, and quite possibly responsible for all suffering ever endured by the human race. Let's start with the PC side of things. Overall, my game actually runs very well even while I'm streaming. I get solid frame rates apart from a couple of spots on one or two maps. London Docks and Gustav Cannon are the two culprits that spring to mind, but other than that, it doesn't stutter constantly like Black Ops 3 did for me, and the mouse input is great when my frame rate is good, which is most of the time. So it's 2 steps ahead of Black Ops 3 there right off the bat. Unfortunately, I can't say that it's a perfect PC port. We're still missing out on things that should be completely standard by now, like, for example, a ping limiter and ping numbers in-game instead of the stupid 3-bar system which we have to deal with right now. In general, I've found the servers to actually be lacking. A lot of the time I feel like my ping will spike during gunfights, and for the first time ever when playing CoD, I feel like I've had genuine cause to complain about hit detection on some occasions. It's still not very often because CoD hit detection on low ping is extremely good, but often enough to be annoying. Just to put it in perspective, in my 2,000 plus hours in Black Ops 2, I had maybe 5 instances of genuinely bad hit detection when playing on low ping, and all of them happened when I was using a sniper. World War 2, I've already had a fair few more than that and a fair few cases of annoying whiffed hits on what should in theory be low ping. Remember that we can't actually tell properly because of the stupid bar system. Anyway, before I go getting distracted too much, I should probably talk about the biggest, and in my opinion, the only real game-threatening issue on PC. Those of you who play on PC will already know that I'm going to talk about the absurd number of people cheating and not getting banned. I don't think I really need to go into detail as to why this is a problem, but suffice it to say that if it's not fixed quickly, I can't see the game living on PC. It's particularly bad in my region, which is why this first game was being played on a 1-bar, because the game was in a state where I couldn't find a game in my region that didn't have a cheater in it. So with an already small population here, there are a very limited number of lobbies already. And every few lobbies, on that day it was particularly bad, but every few lobbies you'll get into one where someone is just walking around the map, silent aim headshotting everyone in the entire lobby. They really need to address this as soon as possible because as of right now, it's probably already too late to save my region, but North America and Europe can still be saved. As for the rest of it, like I said, it's a decent PC port. It runs a million times better than Black Ops 3 did for me. The port isn't without its flaws, but overall I think they've done a decent job on that side of things. Obviously, the lack of ping numbers and stuff like it is just it's an absolutely mind-blowing oversight that shouldn't even be a thing in 2017, but it's a small issue compared to other things. If you offered me Black Ops 3 that had ping bars instead of ping numbers but ran as well as this game did, I'd take that in a heartbeat. So, let's talk about the actual game now. First things first, I've heard pretty much nothing but complaints about the maps. and I'll agree that there are some absolute shockers in World War II, but I actually very much enjoy 6 of the 9 original release maps. The three I don't like are Gustav Cannon, USS Texas, and Sainte Marie Dumont. The other six I've liked at least somewhat from the very start, and the more I play them, the more I find myself able to navigate them and enjoy myself with various playstyles. Obviously, maps can often come down to personal taste, but I feel like every time there's a new CoD, people really do like to just harp on the maps before they ever give themselves a chance to get familiar with them, the way they were familiar with the maps in the previous CoD, and they don't even really give it a chance to get at all familiar with it or work out ways to enjoy each map. Much more so than the maps, I have some issues with gun balance. At time of writing, the subs are pretty much universally underpowered. I'd rate the PPSH and the Thompson as the two best ones, and I'd say that all the subs, including those two, are outclassed in basically every way by ARs. Every sub in the game seems to have really harsh damage fall off and recoil that makes them pretty much non-viable outside medium range, and extremely difficult to kill head glitches with. Even at medium range and close range, you're still going to be on the losing end of gunfights against the full auto ARs a lot of the time, which is obviously not very desirable. What makes this worse is the addition of the bayonet attachment for infantry division, which the vast majority of people like to pair with ARs for obvious reasons. It creates this strange paradox where you have almost nowhere that is your sweet spot for a sub, because if you get slightly too far away, you get outgunned, slightly too close, you get panic bayoneted by some wheelchair-bound retard smashing his head on his keyboard. Needless to say, I don't think a lot of thought went into the bayonet attachment or its potential consequences for gun balance. As for other issues, snipers at the moment are absolutely obnoxious, particularly the Kar98. Basically, no matter what situation you're in, no matter what weapon you're using, you never have a sniper at a disadvantage. When I can camera angle a sniper user, catch him on the sprint at point blank range, I have a waffer with rapid fire and I don't miss a shot, and he still has time to pull up and black scope me, there's a problem with the snipers. I'd say they pretty much need to be nerfed across the board, and I'd like to see them fall on the underpowered side of balance rather than overpowered, because that way you don't end up with noob cannons. Same thing goes for the shotguns, which are at present not very powerful but also not as bad as everyone is suggesting. The pump action and the toggle both seem very decent, and the double barrel is more than capable of being of plenty of annoying cross-map deaths even without the rifle bullet. The sword-off seems quite weak, but like I said, it's always better to have shotguns and snipers fall on the weak side of balance rather than strong. That way, good players can make them usable and bad players will still struggle, whereas if you do it the other way around, good players will make them ungodly and annoying, and bad players will have them still be annoying. Some other balance issues I have with the game is the lack of a flak jacket option. Now stop before you go pouncing for the comments to tell me about the existence of Armoured and Hunker. I know they exist, but they might as well not for all the good they do. Based on some very crude tests I did with a friend, I estimate Hunker and Armoured to reduce damage from explosives by 25%. This is compared to the 65% offered by Flak Jacket in the Black Ops series, and as you can imagine based on those numbers, it's really not very helpful. It'll stop you dying to that random cross-map nade, but in most situations where you need the less damage from explosive, all it's going to do is delay your death until someone peeks you and dinks you once to finish you off. I'd really like to see a buff for Armoured and Hunker, as well as a nerf to grenade radius and damage to make it so that those don't become crutch perks. Finally, I wanted to comment on footstep noises. They're far too loud in World War II, and they make Mountain at present an almost mandatory division, especially if you're using an SMG or shotgun. I'd really like to see them turned down, and I've been scratching my head a lot at people saying they're too quiet. It's just been utterly bewildering for me, because to me they're extremely loud, and all that loud footsteps do in CoD is encourage people to camp. Making footsteps quieter means people are more likely to move around freely because they don't feel so vulnerable. I think quiet footsteps is a really underestimated part of why games like Black Ops 2 flowed so well, and why a game like World War 2 tends to play slower by comparison. So if they could get turned down, Mountain wouldn't be such a crutch division, and there'd be more division variety, and everyone could run around a bit more and be a bit more free. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Overall, I really do enjoy the game. It's a bit different from what we've had for the last few years, because it's a bit slower paced and no jetpacks and all of that sort of stuff. But there's plenty of good old CoD fun to be had. It has its issues like every single CoD, but I find the majority of my games to be very enjoyable when there aren't cheaters in them. That's about it for me for the day. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.
Securing Kaiser. Enemy capturing Anton. Enemy capturing Bertha. Care package descending. Protect the DC. Anton is lost. He is lost. Recon aircraft ready.
Oh, fuck off, cunt. Oh. Right.
Securing Bertha.
I didn't realize that gun fired at about 1,000 RPM. Silly me. Silly me for thinking that it didn't. Fucking hell. Oh god. Like how pretty much no matter where you run after you see the nade marker, it literally doesn't matter. You're just gonna fucking get wrecked by it anyway. Like I said, you might as well just stop moving. Nerf the snipers already, please! This guy got a GPMG. Yeah, looks like it.
Domination! Remember your training. Make us proud. Securing Anton. A capture. Enemy has Kaiser. Enemy taking heavy casualties. Push. Recon airborne. Searching for targets. Enemy has Bertha.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Strike aircraft Flix-X bombing mission ready. Kaiser is ours. Recon flight concluded. Recon searching for targets. Enemy capturing Kaiser. Firing battery one.
The fuck was that weird ass like dolphin dive followed by a one frame pop up? Get fucking destroyed. Get destroyed!
Enemy capturing aircraft. Recon flight concluded. Recon aircraft ready.
What? Can't activate while falling?
Recon
Can't
airborne,
activate your
searching
mum's
for
badge
targets.
while fucking falling, game.
Kaiser. Anton is overrun. Kaiser is lost. Flix-X bombing mission ready. Closing with Kaiser.
Alright, let's get C, teammates.
Kaiser locked down.
What? Oh god.
Recon airborne, searching for targets. Enemy taking B. Recon flight concluded. Strafing on inbound.
Get off B, sluts. Go on, get on it.
Flix-X bomb mission underway.
Or don't. See if I care.
Enemy
That
contact
gets
at
one
Bertha.
person. Okay. This thing actually has like no recoil.
Closing with
It's pretty nice.
Enemy capturing aircraft. Recon aircraft standing by. Recon searching for targets. Emergency airdrop inbound. Resupply and advance. Fighter aircraft ready for striking. Call the target. Blitz bomb ready. Losing objective Bertha. Fighter aircraft approaching target. Closing
Okay.
Fighter pilot inbound. Strafing the target.
That just happened.
Concluded.
Alright. Sick.
Sending motor rounds. Zone and sweep.
Haha, you got a hit marker. Eat my shit.
Securing Bear. WW2 bomber inbound. Dropping incendiary. Being captured.
Oh, wrecked.
Securing Anton. Enemy taking C. Recon aircraft ready for mission. Recon airborne. Taser is taken. Counter-attack. Fighter aircraft ready for strafing run. Call the target. Objective Bertha.
Oh, can I hit it from this side? I hate how inconsistent the fucking reg is on the fighter pilot. I like the streak a lot.
Recon flight
Probably
concluded.
always fucking use it, but I hate that inconsistency though. Also hate how many fucking hit markers you get on head glitch cunts in this game.
The day is ours.
Teammate using requisitions for UAVs. Probably. Holy shit, I won a game of Dom while I'm solo.